What's up, everybody? It's KB, and I love movies. I don't know why that's there, but I'm going to take it down because you don't need to see that. You just need to see me right now. Okay, how's everyone doing tonight? Welcome back. Happy Friday. Happy Friday the 13th. Happy birthday, Jason. Happy Swifty Day. I got my cardigan on for the occasion. Just listening to some good old I almost said Halloween, not yet. Friday the 13th, Part 3 soundtrack. If you know, you know what track to go to. About 45 seconds in, gets real funky. We are currently waiting for our guest tonight. So I'm going to check in and see who's joining us. If you are in the chat, thank you. If this is not your first time here, welcome back. If it is your first time here, welcome. Welcome. Thanks for spending your Friday night. You could have been anywhere else. You could have been watching Taylor Swift on stage in a movie theater, but you're here with us. So just want to thank you for that. Yeah, hope everyone had a good week. Just winding things down and getting ready to have a restful weekend. Kind of stressful week. So yeah, pretty good, pretty good. So let's see who's joining us. We got Corey in the house saying hello to us. What's up, my friend? Brother Dell in the house. We got Holland Oates. Who else? We got Tiana. What's up, lady? We got Laren in the house. Hello. We got Movie Hunter 2020 saying good evening to everyone. Good evening to you, sir. We got Jeff in the house. Thanks for coming back. I'm glad you're liking the channel and the content and these conversations. Yeah, I'm glad you came over and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yes, sir. Thank you. Smash that like button. Salute, my dude. We got Culture Trini in the house. I see our guest is coming in right now. And it's appropriate because after Adrian Dreams, yes, happy Friday the 13th, we have Caveman saying hello to everyone. We love seeing Caveman in the chat. Follow him on YouTube and also Instagram. He's good with the jokes. And I try to get him on for spooky season. And he's like, you know who you really got to have on? And I was like, really? She knows horror?
Hello, everybody.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the one genre he does not like. He likes everything, romance, you name it, but
yeah,
not
I
horror.
was surprised. I thought he was all over the board.
Yeah, he did suck it up and go see It with me when the new It came out, but that's about as far as I've gotten with him.
How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Sorry about the delay. We had the wrong link, so
No worries. I was rocking out to the Friday the 13th Part 3 soundtrack. So, and then I looked up and I was like, oh, I should be doing something else right now. So, yeah. So I got on board. Just saying hello to everybody in the chat. We just said hello to Caveman. We got Emmett here saying happy Friday the 13th. Steven saying, I'm here on time. Yes. What's up, my friend? Let's see. The monkey is here. I missed the intro to Caveman and Women Not Featured in Encino Man. He's good for these intros. We got Michael in his house saying, hey. So glad, man. So glad. Thank you. Really appreciate it. So he's been asking this question all week. So I guess it's my turn to answer. Do I believe 13 is an unlucky number? Well, first I'll have to believe that numerical values could be lucky and unlucky. I think 0 would be an unlucky number if there was an unlucky number because you can't divide by it.
Right.
That's kind of strange. On the other hand, there's infinity. I like infinity because nobody could really use it in a value. Mm-hmm. I like to follow that path. So am I superstitious? I don't wear the same basketball shorts that I won my college championship in or anything, but just whatever.
And for me, 13 is actually, it's one of my favorite numbers for some reason, or anything with 3 in it. I'm so drawn to. So
my wife is like that. She likes 3s. We have 3 kids. Any bad luck happened to me? I can't count it as much as I could count my good luck, so I'll just leave it at that. So yes, I'm glad to have you on the show. we're going to talk spooky tonight. And we're going to spend some time talking movies. And I enjoyed your picks. I'm just going to say that up front because I have this thing called low-hanging fruit. And, there's a variety. It's like walking up to a tree. You can pick the low-hanging fruit. You have one of those. You could pick the roots.
Mm-hmm.
You got one of those.
Yeah.
You go up high, you get that. So
Yep.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So before we even start and go there, I always like to start with a non-movie question.
Mm-hmm.
So I will ask you what we all want to know. What is something we don't know about caveman?
I don't know. I wasn't prepared for that question.
Yeah, no one ever is.
Yeah. Well, you already know that he's got a crazy dark sense of humor, and that's one of the things I love about him. He's a good dog and cat dad. We neither one of us have children, so those are our kids. And he's very good with the dogs and cats. Not much of a horse person. I have horses too, but he's not quite there yet with them. But I don't know. I don't know if he's ever shared that he used to be an engineer for GE.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he used to. In fact, when we first met, not when we first met, but when he first time he came to my house, he walked in the door and looked at my stove and said, "I designed that stove."
Oh wow.
So we actually have several appliances in the house that he actually designed.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's very, very artistic. He's very creative and very artistic.
Very nice. That was a great answer for not being prepared. So as many people know, the conversation, we end everyone with the 5 takes. It's the 5 questions that I ask every time. And for the spooky season, I did a little remix. So that's the questions we're going to go through tonight. Spending the most time on number 2 because we're going to talk some movies, which we love to do. Some extra comments going on here. I sound like a philosopher. No, it's just me being.
It's the
kitschy.
cardigan.
Just being kitschy right now. Yeah, some questions when you really don't know how to answer a question or you don't want to, you just play it off the cuff. So that's all I was doing. All right, so we're going to get into it, and we're going to start off with. I always like to find out people's origins, and this is a good one. So we're going to start off with name the horror movie that made you fall in love with the genre.
Well, the very first one that I saw was the first Halloween. And I was only 10 and I wasn't supposed to see it. My aunt and her husband took me to the drive-thru and they had a children's, family-friendly movie at the beginning. And this was, of course, back in the 70s. So they had the conversion van. So they thought, well, we'll just watch the family-friendly movie and then she can go lay down and go to sleep in the back. Yeah, I sat in the back of the van and watched the whole thing. Which I just recently told my mom, and she's I think, ready to kill her sister.
Oh no!
Because my mother and father, neither one of them are horror at all. I don't know if they've ever seen it. Well, my mom saw Psycho when it first came. Said she couldn't take a shower for like a week because it was too freaky. But so she's been asking me, where did this come from you? And I'm like, I don't know. I love movies, but I would say Halloween probably is the one that started it all. And then what was neat was that 20 years later, when H2O came out, I saw it in the drive-in as well. My ex-husband and I went to the drive-in theater, and so it's kind of like came full circle.
Yeah. It's funny. Everyone has that entry point. Like, it's not my first foray into the genre, but I do remember we used to go to like a summer day camp, and it was always like the older teenagers that were supposed to be doing stuff with us. They just used it as like their summer hangout. So we'd be outside playing basketball on the hard concrete with the terrible hoops and all that. They'd be inside the air-conditioned gym, just running fulls all day. And then, of course, we'd say, can we play? Go outside, kids. But then at night, when we were doing arts and crafts, they would go and sneak into the basement, like an old cafeteria made into like a hall or whatever. and they would put a projector on and watch like Super 8s and 16 millimeter films. And they had Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Good,
wow.
good story for a good day.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 2.
Okay.
And I went inside for something. I think I was looking for juice. I don't know who I thought I was. Everybody's drinking from the hose. And I said, I'm going to go in and get some juice from the fridge. Who am I? So they're all here in the front. And I walk in through the back. And my eyes kind of lock in with the opening titles. And I'm like, what's this? And I stood there quietly, like kind of like in the shadows or whatever, and watched that whole thing. I think I was like kind of terrified a little bit, kind of like, what do they say? Fight, flight, or
Yeah.
freeze. I was frozen. So but then the next night, and to this day, I still don't know why they watched it out of order. They watched the first one.
Oh.
So I kind of saw them kind of congregating and going in. So I made my way to find some juice and made sure I went and watched that one too. So back to back, I saw those two movies. But
Yeah, so you kind of did it the way I did it. Kind of it.
Yep.
And then what's neat too is another way where it came full circle is that I used to live in Bowling Green when I first moved to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
John Carpenter's father was a professor at Western Kentucky University, which is where I actually got my bachelor's degree. And I worked at the big hotel there, and he actually came to the hotel quite a few times, would have dinner and stuff. And I never actually got to meet him, but I knew he was there. So in a lot of Carpenter's movies, he will make Bowling Green references, and Halloween is one of them. She lived on Schoolhouse Road, and we had a road in Bowling Green called Schoolhouse Road. And stuff like that. So I always loved looking. And then when Vampires came out, he referenced the hotel that my ex-husband and I worked at in the movie. So that was another way where it kind of came full circle.
That's pretty cool. Let's see some comments while we're here before the next question. I have a lot of movies I shouldn't have seen from the old drive-ins. Yeah, that was the thing. The kids movie was up front, and then you would hope the kids would fall asleep. But that was I don't know what was wrong with our parents, because it wasn't just popcorn. It was soda. It was candy. It was Juji fruits. And all that sugar will hype you up. You will eventually pass out, but you'll be hyped up for a while. And if that kid's movie is interesting, I'm going to stay up and watch the whole thing. And then I'm going to see what's next.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of kids watch a lot of horror movies that way, for sure. We got the huckster in the house.
Hey, heck.
Between you and Caveman, can we just, after everything we learned this week, can we retire this statement here? I'm not even going to say it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Button if you like what we're talking about. Thank you. But yeah, we just need to retire that because it's just dumb at this point.
Fair.
There we go. We'll put this up instead. We'll just say, hey, thanks for joining us. Hit the like if you like it. Subscribe if you like it that much. Boop. Because all that other stuff, it's just dumb. Let people live. Let's see. Who else? I thought I saw somebody else pop in here. Yes, I did. John Doe Juggalo saying good evening. He will catch a replay. Okay. We have a question from the monkey, and it's for a question about you and Mr. Caveman. What's his and your favorite Christmas movies?
I'm not sure I know. This sounds bad, but I'm not sure I know what his favorite Christmas movie is. I don't know that I've ever seen him actually watch one. For me, though, that's hard. It used to be Christmas Story for a long time. I just love the humor in that. It's hilarious. But then when Elf came out, I have to admit, I know that's kind of a low-hanging fruit, but
yeah.
But Will Ferrell and I don't like all of Will Ferrell's movies.
Me neither.
I'm not a huge fan of everything he does, but that movie just cracks me up every time I watch it.
Every time.
And I'm constantly quoting it too. So
it's we do the same thing, and I think it came out at the point where my kids were developing their own senses of humor. So things that would be like less than funny, they find like really funny, like the scene with the nun toward the beginning. But children love the books. Yeah. Crack up every time. And somebody just has to say it in the family. And it's like, Good one. Good one. Yeah, National Lampoon, but didn't want to watch it with your mom.
Oh, well,
Hmm.
yeah. Her sense of humor is a little different.
Hmm.
The
Good one.
cat with the thing too with the cat in the tree probably would have bothered her. Probably.
Oh,
It gets
tricky.
me too sometimes because we're both cat lovers. So
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to question 2, and this is where we're going to spend the majority of time because we're going to talk some movies here. So number 2 is name some of your favorite spooky or creepy movies. So let's see. Do you want me to throw it up or do you want to
you
talk
can.
about it?
Yeah, if
Okay.
you want. Yes.
So we have this one first of all.
Yes, it's one of my favorites. We actually have both the original one, which I didn't even know that there was an original one until to go order it. But I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I do want to see it, but I just love this movie. I love the way it's done. I love I can't remember his name. The guy that was the one that's in this movie and in Scream. Uh, Ryan, is it Ryan something? I can't remember his name. The tall blonde guy
Yeah.
that's in drawing up having a senior moment. Um, and I love Tony Shalhoub. I actually got to meet Tony Shalhoub in New York briefly at a museum, and he was very kind and sweet. My
Yeah.
mother, we we were in the museum, and I was in a different part of a room. We were at a Van Gogh exhibit, and all of a sudden she comes over and she's like, "Monk's here," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Monk's here," and I'm like, "What? Where?" And so she took me to him, and we said hello to him. We were trying to be real quiet and not, draw a lot of attention to him because he was there enjoying himself, So,
Yeah.
and then right before we walked away, my mom's like, "Don't try to straighten any paintings." Really? But he was really sweet and funny and kind. But yeah, he's one of my favorite parts about this movie. But I don't know. I just love all the different ghosts that they came up with and stuff in the storyline were just, and the costuming,
Yeah.
the special effects and the costuming, all the outfits or the costuming that they wore was just amazing. And it was just really the way it's done, and the whole idea of the puzzle piece, and the house was an actual puzzle, and
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it.
So because you popped in, what I'm going to say is 2 things. For those who don't know the movies, we'll try to do a little synopsis at the beginning. More
Mhm.
importantly, we will try to avoid spoilers.
Okay.
If there is something that you say, I really want to talk about this scene or that scene, just let me know. I'll give everyone a heads up and
Okay.
we'll just throw up this little boop. That way we could talk about it. Nobody's going to get pissed off
Yeah.
and life
Sorry,
goes
it's
on.
my first time on doing this, so.
Yeah, it's all good. We all start somewhere. So, um, yeah, the thing for me, definitely try to check out that first one because I think between the two, that is the superior one. This
Okay.
this movie came at a point that I mentioned this before. As time goes on, we will be more and more critical about the kind of like the crossover from kind of like the use of practical effects ending in the 90s into the 2000s
Mhm.
and the birth and the overuse at times of CGI. Now,
Yeah.
in this case, I think it's good and bad, like you were saying with the ghosts and their characterizations. That's good. But then some of the scenes, some of the kills, it was like, ooh, that
Yeah.
doesn't look so good today. We're in the Marvel DC, you know, drop a planet on things and everything looks great. So we become more critical. You try to be respectful to the time. But I just think like story wise, it's a really good story. Most of that being from the original, but there was I don't know. It's not schlock. I don't know the word that I want to use for it, but I don't know. It just, in comparison, it was the lesser of the two. So it would be interesting, since you do like this one, to watch the original
Yeah.
and then double feature it with this one and see what you think. I would
Yeah.
love to hear your
And
thoughts
I
on it.
I admit it has been a little while since I've seen this one too, but it is one that's very memorable to me, uh,
Yeah.
and everything. So yeah, I do
Yeah.
love
I,
it.
I would say probably the things that are memorable are the components that kind of like go through both movies.
Okay.
But yeah,
Wait to
the
check it out.
not giving anything away, but the scenes with the ghosts, probably
Hmm.
the best part.
Okay.
And we won't say how, but we'll just say the transition to
Okay.
see them. I
Oh,
really enjoyed.
now my curiosity is piqued.
Like even in this one, the transition is what I really liked as well.
Hmm.
All right. I want to move on to the next one.
Sure.
All right. So the next one on your list was
Yes. Now this one, I honestly don't remember how I saw it because I was only
Mhm.
6 years old when this movie came out. So I know somebody
Right.
dragged me to to a theater to watch this.
Mhm.
Uh, but the only thing I can figure is that my aunt and uncle they were one of the first ones in the family to have like cable TV. So, and I think I must have seen it on there. And I rewatched it last week, and I realized I don't think I'd seen it since I originally saw it. But for
Mm.
some reason, this is a movie that has just stuck in my head over the past 40 plus years. And I remembered, as scenes were coming up, I was like, oh yeah, those are the scenes that I remember and everything. And it's, it's about this couple who have a baby, and the baby ends up being some kind of, odd creature that goes around, not giving anything away, kills everybody in the, as soon as it's born, he kills everybody in the room except the mom. And, and then, but what I found interesting about it too, and I do remember this from originally, I want to say I was probably about the same age as when I saw Halloween as when I saw this.
Mhm.
But the fact that she was so protective over him,
Yeah.
over the child, and the dad wasn't. He was just like, no, we got to get rid of it. And so
Mhm.
it's interesting to see, even though it was going around killing people, it was she still had that motherly instinct because it was her only child. So.
Yeah. It was an interesting look at maternal versus paternal parenthood
Hmm.
because I mean, stereotypical of the time, all that was missing, and for obvious reasons, when you watch a movie, was the dad giving out cigars to everybody when the baby was born, but stereotypical, very patriarchal situations. Hey, dad, go out in the waiting room. We'll let you know when
Yeah.
things. Typical of the time, but the the way it goes about the story and I don't want to say, but yeah, I'll just say like the hunt
Hmm.
for solving the mystery of what's going on. Yeah, the whole thing with the parents, because like you said, there's something special about that maternal attachment.
Hmm.
I saw it with my own wife. Our oldest is our son, and that maternal attachment, mother to son, is something special.
Hmm.
So then to see it does, that whole "my child can do no wrong," but
Yeah.
this is to a different level of that. So, yeah, it was interesting, and then the turn at the end, I think
Yeah.
that was, interesting, but also it told a lot about the situation as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as the actual special effects and stuff like that, of course, it was about par for the time period. But one of the things
Mhm.
I did notice more now that I've seen it as an adult is how much they did like this just dragging like quiet time just so they could fill up space where there was just this like real dramatic look that the, the dad would give, and they just stare off into space. And
Yeah,
the
and
quality of it wasn't that great, but it was but I mean it's a cult classic. It's just one that I think not many people have heard of, but true movie buffs I think have actually are familiar with it.
yeah, you have a lot of B-movie fans who are big fans of Larry Cohen. He's the guy who made this, so,
Yeah.
I mean, he's the producer, so he got it made. He wrote it, and
Yeah.
then he also directed it, so this
Yeah.
is his baby, literally.
Yeah. 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 And I think
And
too, when I was a kid, one of the things that I think freaked me out about it was I was raised in Miami and spent a lot of my summers in the Keys.
mhm,
And we had friends that had a souvenir shop, so we would go out and go skin diving to go get stuff to put in the souvenir shop. So one of the things we would collect was conch. And I don't know if you've ever seen the actual creature that's inside a conch, but they have this one claw that comes out, and it
mm.
reminded of that. And I can remember one day we caught a bunch of them and they were crawling all over the boat, and we were all freaking out because I kept thinking of this movie.
It's something interesting about that time was the camera work. So we can't show you too much. So we're going to do like quick cutaways, and we'll do like quick zooms. So it's like you might see the monster or the villain or who it is, but not enough where you can say, aha, I know what you look like now. So there was a lot of that in this movie, but
Yeah.
to say it kept you guessing was it's kind of interesting about the whole way they went about it. So
That's
yeah.
actually a technique of movies that I kind of miss. It was
Mm,
one thing I loved about The Mummy was because they did it that way. And even like Indiana Jones, they never actually showed people getting killed. They would just show the shadow. And that's the way they used to do it, in the early days. And it
mhm.
kind of left that level of suspense and left it to the imagination of the viewer, and that's what I felt like this one did somewhat too. And I'm sure a lot of it was budget, but but it still left that, there was especially in the beginning, it was a while before they actually show, even a glimpse of what he looks like. And um, so the fact that they just kind of left it to your imagination, I think was one of the things I thought was kind of cool about it.
Yeah. Some comments. I got to catch up. I should have stopped
Mhm.
before when we were talking about the first movie. So Dell says, just finished driving, late to the topic, no splitting the pole. Yeah, 13 Ghosts. Didn't find it memorable. Watch the other one. And then, like I said, compare. Low budget fun. Yes, it's possible.
All right.
And the other thing is, most of them, like, if they made the 90-minute mark, it was like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, hour 17, hour 20, and you look at it, so much of it is composition, like
Mm-hmm.
making up that story. And then, the spooks and the scares and all that, minimal. But,
Mm-hmm.
those 5, 7 minutes were big
Yeah.
because that was like the focus of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, get on that. Watch both of them. Like I suggested to Valerie, just watch both of them back to back and see what you think. What up? What up? What up? Jersey in the house. What's up, Jerry? Let's see. Movie Hunter says it's alive. Creepy movie. Creepy. Yeah. Back when we were kids, movies would get re-released. That's right. That was the only way we could see it. If we missed the initial release, it would come out like 6 months later, a year later. There were traveling road shows, so there would be one print, and it would go from Detroit to Green Bay, down I-95. Crazy. And I think the only modern day director doing that was Quentin Tarantino when he took
Mm-hmm.
Hateful Eight on the road. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, the documentary for Larry Cohen called King Cohen. That's a good one to check out. People don't know about him that much today unless you're into that kind of subgenre of movies. The good old days, we still have a drive-in, thankfully. Yeah, I have one north of me. I have
Me too.
not been to it. I'm sad to say. Saw pieces of It's Alive when I was really young. Yeah, I think we all did for sure. What's up, Mika? Thanks for hanging out with us. Shout out to Kira. Hope she feels better. Yeah. Let's see. It's Alive. Good pick. Fun one. Yeah. It was kind of funny because some of these I was going through them and I was like, which one are we talking about? Because
Yeah.
there's a newer movie, I think like around
Yeah.
2008, also called It's Alive. I don't know if it's a remake
I
or
thought
anything.
it was, and I didn't realize too that there's actually three different. We our copy did finally come in. I know you told you it didn't come in, but it came in.
Yeah.
But there's actually three of them. There's It's Alive Again, It Lives Again, and Island of the Alive, which I did not know.
Yeah. They
On the
kind of
movie.
leave the end of it.
Yeah, they did
Open.
leave it open at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, we could pull a sequel out of this. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, what's a sequel? You mean like Son of Kong? Funny. Yeah, let's see what the next movie is here. Oh
Oh, yep.
yes.
This is our copy of our steelbook.
I like
Of
that.
course, I read the book
Hmm.
before the TV movie came out, and it was very freaky. Um, and of course, when the TV movie came out, I was in love. Of course, I love Tim Curry anyway, so
Mm.
and John Ritter and all of them. Um, so I was kind of skeptical when the new one came out. The remakes, anytime like you get a classic like that. but I've looked at it like they're both great, and they're really kind of two different kinds of mediums, because one's television, made for television, and then the other one, was had more leeway with drama and the special effects and all that kind of stuff. So I find them both equally as good
Mm-hmm.
just because of the fact that they're both really kind of two different mediums.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're both adaptations in a way, because if you read the book, neither one of them have really nailed it on the head to me. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I was a teenager, so this was after the TV movie special and
Mm-hmm.
before this. And when I read it, I was like, there is no way they could ever make this like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's things in there that won't be allowed in today's society
Yeah.
overall. And the one thing I would say about chapter one is that it did a good job of pulling from the book what it could,
Yes. Definitely.
and still kept it a modern day horror movie. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of silly, like the jumps. I'm not a jump scares person, but the jump scares in it, it was like theater reaction. And then
Mm-hmm.
everybody would laugh. And the next scene is starting, but everybody in the theater is laughing. So it's
Yeah.
like, I guess, it's like a push and pull kind of situation, because it's like you get it, and then it's like, oh, release. So like, and
Yeah,
release.
this one I did see, and like I said, it was the one that I actually got Guy to go with me,
Hmm.
sucked it up and went with me, and I think seeing it in the big screen was actually really great. And
Yeah.
I loved the way that they redid the costuming. And one of the things, I don't know, probably a lot of people do know this, but that smile that he did, he actually does that. That's not CG. He can actually
Skarsgård.
make his mouth do that. He did it on some talk show I was watching. I was like, oh, that's just creepy.
Hmm. I know a lot of women that find him attractive. I was like, did you see him smile?
Exactly.
That would turn away any form of attraction for me, because God forbid you go to bed before him and he's kind of feeling sinister or whatever it is. But two questions on this. One, what did you think about the casting of the kids in chapter one?
I think they did a good job.
Hmm.
I agree that they did. Um, I didn't really know any of the kids, but comparing it to the original and seeing that, I think they picked some good ones, and they all seem to do really well with their parts and stuff.
And did you see chapter two?
Yes. Um, and honestly, I'm trying to remember who was it. I did. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember. I think I do remember when I watched it, feeling like the original, that they did a better job of pairing up
I agree.
the actors with their child counterparts.
Hmm.
That they matched them a little bit better, Um, but because with um, Richard Masur and um, Harry Anderson, and I don't know, I just felt like there was a better connection between them.
Yeah. For me, this is the better of the two.
Yes,
And
I
I definitely like the kids better than the grown-ups, where it was kind of like a little bit different watching the TV movie. But
mm-hmm.
I went campaigning to get Amy Adams to be the grown-up version of
Ooh,
Beverly, because
yeah,
that girl looks like such a great younger version of her,
yeah, yeah,
that I thought she would have been excellent for that.
yeah, yeah.
But they got Jessica Chastain. She's not chopped liver, so
No, for sure.
All right. Before I move on, I'm going to check with the chat this
Mhm.
time. Aha. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here we go. Um, yep. Love it. Both 1990 and It 2017. They did a great job. Both equally good. Agreed. Um, prefer 2017 to 1990, and also enjoyed chapter two. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Skarsgård definitely did a great job as Pennywise. And the whole thing is that's different than what we saw. I'll just say when we were younger, is that the reveal of Pennywise it was more of a production in
Mm-hmm.
2017 than it was in 90. In 90, it was like it was being kept from us. It was being teased.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you finally saw what Pennywise looked like, not as menacing as he looks here,
Right.
but it was like, ooh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to wait for this one. We got Tim Talks Talkies in the house saying hello. And we got second cousin Dave in the house saying, gotta see Miss Caveman and second cousin KB. Welcome to the chat.
Hey.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. Tim Curry be always be Pennywise to me. It's hard. Some people say the same thing, like they just see him in spandex and not spandex, but fishnets and tights
Fishnets. Yeah.
in Rocky Horror. So yeah.
He's eclectic.
Yeah, very, very. So these roles, these iconic roles that he's known for, it just stays with him for sure. And then there's other things that he's in that's, funny and dramatic and so forth. So
Well, did you ever see him when he was on Criminal Minds?
no.
Yeah. He played a serial killer.
My
It
my
was
daughter's
really,
probably all over that. She loves that show.
yeah, it was really good. I'd only watched certain parts of it, and then when I saw he was on, I was like, oh, I gotta watch these.
Yeah. There are a couple of guest stars that played like serial killers on that show.
Hmm.
I
He did.
remember there was one that was like a multi-part episode she was watching. I was like, this is good. But
Hmm.
life of me, I can't tell you who it was. But it was almost like a Silence of the Lamb thing,
Yeah.
catch a killer kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also messing with the agents as well.
Hmm.
Good show. Good show. All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, my dog's distracting me. What are you doing? Go lay down. No.
Aw. I heard before. I was like, I hear a puppy.
Yeah. That was one of her daughters. She
It's
says,
like,
okay.
I want attention. What are you doing?
Yes.
It looks like you're just sitting there. Give me attention.
Right,
All
she's
right.
old.
Next movie.
Yeah.
Classic. Dell is
So,
screaming. Dell is smiling right now. I won't say screaming, but smiling. One of his
so
favorites.
the reason that this is a pick for me is because of one of the reasons I think why I don't get freaked out over most horror movies is that they're not realistic. There's Freddy's in your dreams. Jason and Michael get killed 15,000 times and come back. This movie always freaked me out because it could happen. Somebody could dress up in a ghost face costume and go around killing people. It wasn't this fantastical, thing. And one time when my ex-husband and I were down in Orlando, we went to a year-round haunted house, and that was the first time I really felt that fear was. We were going through it, and I was fine and everything. And all of a sudden, here comes a guy out in a ghost face costume, and I'm like just about crawling over the back of my ex-husband, thinking in my mind, the real guy's dead in the back, and this guy's got a real knife, and he's going to start killing us all.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I loved about these movies is that there was more of a realistic component to it. And I thought they did a good job too of the mystery, keeping the mystery and stuff like that with who is it and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be honest, I have not seen the last several
Okay.
renditions of this, but I did see like at least I think the first 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I loved them. Yeah, I loved all of them, but so I figured I would just start with this one.
Yeah. I was about to ask you, what do you feel about the sequels in comparison? It sounds like you saw the Nev Campbell movies. If you
Yeah.
went up to 3 or 4,
Yeah.
those are.
Yeah. I honestly haven't seen the most recent ones
Yeah.
lately. But yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm looking. I'm like, okay, they scream and scream and scream and scream.
Yeah.
But
Well, how everybody likes to show off their shirts. I've got my friends
nice.
Ghostface and Pennywise.
There you go. There you go. Represent. I like that. I like that. Yeah, people are so critical of this franchise, saying it's kind of like lather, rinse, repeat. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I think, and Scream fans, please chime in. I know of at least 2 of you in the chat right now. I think it's knowing the formula, but seeing how it's going to be done is the attraction. So
Yeah.
even with this new generation, the core 4, as they call them, I think it's a matter of what's the kill going to be like, because
Hmm.
the kills, you got to kind of bump it up a notch each and every
Yeah.
time to keep it fresh. And I think, the whole thing is that they're kind of mimicking like the first storyline in a way, goes away to
Right.
college, goes to a different town, things
Mhm.
like that. But I think you kind of get used to it, so you just want to see the difference.
Mhm.
You don't want to criticize the sameness. You want to see the difference in it.
Yeah, that's what I felt about the Saw movies.
Yeah.
Is they come up with all these different creative ways to new ways of killing people, and torturing them and stuff like that. So that's one of the
Hmm.
reasons. Really, those are kind of the same way. They're kind of the same, similar story or structure than the others, but the fact that they get so creative is what I like about them.
Yeah. You mentioned things that could happen, and sorry to everyone who's been here night after night. Thank you for being here night after night. But my movie choice in that category is The Strangers.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh, please watch this.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see if we have that. It looks
Um,
familiar. He may have bought it for me, and he'll do that. He'll buy horror movies just because, and I'll look at it and go, I've never even heard of this movie.
yeah,
So,
it's basically a story of a couple who, they have a remote house that they're staying in for the night. It's late, and basically they start to hear things after a little visit at the front door, and it doesn't take long before they realize it's a home invasion.
wow.
And then you get to the end and you find out why, and it's the creepiest reason.
Is that the one that has David Bautista? Is that the one, or that's a different one?
I believe no, he's
Not this.
not in this one.
Okay.
But yeah, I think somebody said it here before. I'll go through the comments real quick.
Mhm.
So going back, yes, thank you for that, Holland. It was Jason Alexander. They put like a wig
Yes.
on him, and he
Oh,
was the killer in the multiple episodes, just like messing with that agent. Yeah, I knew Dell would be smiling. That's his movie. There's another fan right there. Um, let's see. Realistic horror is the most terrifying. Home invasion films are always scary. This could happen.
mm-hmm.
We got best friend Melissa popping in. Happy Friday to you, my dear. Everybody's saying happy Friday the 13th. We got Mama Blu-ray in the house saying hello. Hello to you, Bonnie. Home invasion and supernatural horror are my faves. Cool. Let's see. They like your shirt.
Thank you.
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best friend shirt I've seen. I'm a big fan. Compliments, compliments. Yes. So this is my friend Melissa. She had
Awesome.
stab on her forearm.
Oh,
So
sweet.
it's Ghostface and the stab logo. And yeah, and she loves 3. She knows that's not my favorite. So yeah, most franchises get that way where it's just a repeat formula. But the whole thing is, as long as you remain entertaining, that's
Mhm.
all we really want. Yes, great breakdown. Scream follows the formula, but they also still comment on what's going on in horror in clever ways. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think from the beginning, from this first movie, they've always been meta about what they're in and the kind of like the rules of a horror movie. So even though you're watching a horror movie, they
Mhm.
are cognizant of the fact that hey, we know
Yeah.
that there are tropes that
Yeah. Kind of like
people
wink,
expect.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like they might as well break the fourth wall and say, "Hey,
Mhm.
you know what's coming."
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, definitely check out The Strangers.
Oh,
Favorite home invasion movie, same thing.
okay.
Yes, I saw that news today. They are remaking it as a trilogy. I am not
Cool.
amused. The
No.
Strangers is good. Yes, that's what I was thinking. It is Knock at the Cabin with Dave Bautista.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
Mama Caveman is watching. Well, there you go. Welcome to the party. Appreciate you for being here. So yeah, this is I mean, if you're gonna go for low-hanging fruit, this is a good choice. This is a
Yeah.
very good choice. I mean, this is still one of my favorites. Oh, good question from the monkey. He says, if you love this film, do you also love Scary Movie?
I'm gonna be honest. I've not seen it. I've not seen the whole. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've
Hmm.
not. But I do love that kind of slapstick kind of. So I do need to put that on my list of to watch.
Before Dell can type it in the chat, I will just say this is what he says. Scream is almost a parody.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to Scary Movie, it's also a parody. So it's like, why make a parody of a parody?
That's true.
So he's not a fan of it. What's
Yeah.
Good reference. Good reference. All right. And I think we want to spend some time on this last one because there's some reference to it and kind of reference to your choice in choosing it. So I'll bring it up. You'll give a quick synopsis, and then you'll give us some details about why you picked this one. So your fifth one was
Which that is actually not the name of it.
uh,
I found a magnet with that on it, and then I got it and realized that wasn't the name. I don't know why they changed the name of it, but this is the actual name of the movie is Humanoids from the Deep.
yep.
Here's this is one of the original poster,
Mm-hmm.
the movie poster images, and it's a campy just movie about these things that come out of the water and start killing people, and it's kind of like a Creature from the Black Lagoon meets Beach Blanket Bingo.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because there's a bunch, half naked girls running around and a lot of times and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, it's been a while since I actually sat down and watched it, but it is a Roger Corman. I think he produced it.
Mm-hmm.
My connection with it is that Barbara Peters is the director, and she is actually my second cousin. She's my mother's first cousin. And she also directed several episodes of Falcon Crest, Cagney and Lacey, Remington Steele. I think Matt Houston. And there might even be some more that I don't know about. So there's a kind of a personal connection with this movie. So when I found out I could get the movie on DVD, it's just kind of neat to be able to have a piece of my family. And then I went down a rabbit hole on eBay and found a whole bunch of stuff. My cart is really full of a bunch of stuff with her, having to do with her and everything like that. So, and I'll be honest, I have not seen her since I was a little girl. She lives out in Oregon. So I've not actually seen her since I was very little, but we stay in contact through Messenger a lot and stuff. And she's a very private person. So, but yeah, she stopped when she stopped doing the Hollywood type stuff. She went on to start her own production company called Silver Fox Productions, and she did documentaries about violence and stuff like that. So she's kind of evolved.
When I watched this, I streamed it from somewhere, but you could tell that the titles were redone.
Yeah.
So it said monster, and then you could see there's this little white line. And if I could zoom in all the way, you'll see it actually says Humanoids from the Deep.
Oh, wow.
So they renamed the movie for some reason because I don't know, maybe when I hear Humanoids from the Deep, that sounds like a 50s kind of creature feature.
Mm-hmm.
Monster just sounds so obscure, you don't know what the hell you're getting.
Right.
But Humanoids from the Deep is probably a little more descriptive than monster.
Yeah.
At least it's coming from the water or whatever. But yeah, this was some good B movie schlock. Like you mentioned, a lot of not even half naked in a scene or two, but some scantily clad individuals and some low-key racism too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. It was like, okay, racism just entered the room.
And then it's
not your typical racism either.
Yeah.
But I know a couple people who live like in small towns like that, and it's kind of like, within the community, it's that tension just between people, and especially different people from different cultures and everything like that. And I thought they did a great job portraying it. You go to the Legion Hall and it's take it outside kind of fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really sad. The funny thing about this, and we're talking racism, there's also a little bit of sexism, and it goes as far as this poster. So normally And I should have brought up before, Bernard Herrmann was the score composer in It's Alive. If you know Hitchcock, you know who Bernard
Oh,
Herrmann is. So here you have a very early entry from James Horner.
yes.
So this was, he's cutting his teeth on these B movies here early in his career, but he gets the final credit, normally reserved for the director, which is before. So it's the little things you don't look for that are
Yeah.
there.
There's that.
Yeah, and I looked through several posters, try to find the OG ones, not the ones on Pinterest and the
Right.
eBay reprints. And you could see by the folds here that this is an original poster.
Hmm.
And yeah, that bothered me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of triggered me a little, but once again, the times patriarchal. What year was this? Like 70?
It was actually 1980.
Okay, so still going strong in
I
the
want to
80s.
say one of Vic Morrow's one of his last movies, because I mean it wasn't that long after that I think he was killed in that.
Yeah.
Helicopter.
Yeah, that was 82, I wanna say,
Yeah.
81, 82 in, Twilight Zone, the movie.
Yeah.
Sad,
And
sad.
Barbara was one of like I said, she was one of Roger Corman's proteges, and she actually
Mhm.
worked on Night of the Living Dead and
Oh, wow.
those movies as well. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, I have to say I really enjoyed your picks because it was, um it was a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
So, you had a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new, so yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I wanted to try and you know p- pick something that some people might not normally pick. Of course, my one of my originals was American Werewolf in London, and you had already covered that with somebody else, but
Yeah.
definitely another one of my all-time favorites. I can remember seeing that when I was a teenager.
Yeah, my I think I talk about that movie ad nauseum because it's one of my favorites. I got the Arrow box set and watched the
Hmm.
whole thing inside out, read the book, all that good stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. Did you
I
know?
like.
Did you watch the series This Is Us?
No, I didn't.
The guy that plays the uncle on This Is
Mhm.
Us is the guy that was his best friend, the one he killed. It's the
Griffin
same.
Dunn.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, he's in this. I sat there when we watched This Is Us, and I was like, why does he look so familiar? And then I finally looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, yeah. A couple comments here before we move on. So Mika says this is one she needs to check out. It's been on the wish list or watch list. Michael's never seen it. Yeah, Monster sounds like a very generic title.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Dell just watched it. He said, just saw it a few months back. Entertaining Z movie. Definitely 80s style, casual racism, sexism. Yep, yep, yep. Um, good question, Michael. Which one is my favorite? Well, I think because my connection to Scream being one of my favorite ones
Yeah.
and all the lore we put behind it, oh, it saved the slasher genre and blah 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 blah. So I think that's the one I'm most familiar with. So I would say out of the five, just because of
Yeah.
repeatability and so forth, that's the one I would say out of the five. But they were all fun to watch. I mean, we were cracking up at Humanoids from the Deep. I mean, because it's just that 70s, 80s cheese.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's kind of like, oh, I'm not supposed to be laughing now, but I am belly
Yeah.
laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, from the Arrow set you were talking about. Um, well, there's only like one movie in there. I don't know what you mean, but come back to it. It's on Freevee and Crackle. So if you want to check it out, you don't have to go far to find it. I think it might even be on Tubi. I don't remember where I watched it, but it was on one of those. So yeah, a lot of places you could check out these movies as we go through them,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of movie collectors too, so
Right.
they have them. Gotta love that 80s cheese. You got
Yeah.
to. You got to. Uh, the title was American Werewolf in London. That's what we were referring to.
Yeah.
All right, let's knock out these other questions here.
Mhm.
So make it two quick hits. So number 3, name a horror movie that everybody loves, but you can't stand.
Can't stand is kind of strong, because I do like. I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie that I didn't like to an extent, at least. But um, I would probably have to say maybe The Purge.
Hmm.
Um, just because I don't know if it's because of that realistic thing or something. I don't know. It just didn't. It really didn't capture my attention very much, and I sometimes I am kind of surprised that people are so enamored with that movie.
Yeah.
But not that, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, there is an element that I did like about it. There's, like I said, I don't know if I've ever come across one that I just absolutely couldn't stand.
Yeah.
There's usually something about the movies that I enjoy. But I'm one of those too that looks at everything. I don't just look at one thing about the movie. I look at the
Mhm.
cinematography, all that kind of stuff. So I usually can find some elements that I do enjoy.
Yeah. There was a YouTube channel, YouTube channel, TikTok, but also on Instagram. Two ladies, and they covered movie reviews, and basically it was any movie, and people would send in movies, the worse the better, and they would find some redeeming element from the film.
Hmm.
And I thought that was a great way to do a
Yeah.
movie review, because instead of everybody saying, "Oh, the acting, the cinematography, blah 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 blah," they said, "You know what? Props to the costume designers,
Right.
because that had good things." Or they'll say, "The editor really did a good job. You could see there was a possibility for more fluff in this movie, but they kept it lean and mean, and they do it quickly because TikTok
Mhm.
shorts, that kind of thing." And I'm like, it's an interesting idea. I kind of miss them. One of them fell on some hard times and bad health, and they don't post as much. But Tony and
Yeah.
Jess, come back when you can. Let's see. Oh yes, good movie. Met John Landis a few times. Yep. Never saw the Purge movies, even though I like Home Invasion. Heard they're overrated. I would say after a while it gets a little formulaic, and they try to switch it up, but then I don't know. Not all the stories hit for me. Yeah. Also look at everything in a movie for sure. Purge is a great concept not explored. Anarchy does it way better. That is true. I did enjoy that a lot better than the majority of those
I'll have
movies.
to check it out because I never did because I didn't really care for too much for the Purge. I never saw the second ones.
Yeah,
Or
but the whole
it's,
what he's saying, the whole concept is interesting. It really
oh
sets up a social moray that,
yeah,
well, if you could, would you?
yeah. That is one of the things I loved about the movie was this whole other possible reality that could, another not another dimension, but that kind of possible reality that we could face.
Yeah. What's up, E? Just got on, but we'll watch a replay. Thank you, man. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate you. Mika says, I agree with that. We try to look at everything about a film. It's hard to say we don't like a film. That's a regular question that I have. It's a great way to catch people off guard, but I might revise it after this month. Maybe, dislike,
Hmm.
not exactly hate,
Yeah,
dislike. Strongly don't prefer.
there you
All right, number 4. Name a horror movie that needs more love. People don't talk about it. It doesn't have a big physical release or anything like that. It's not on 4K. What's a horror movie that needs more love? People don't talk about it.
go. I don't know. Trying to think of one that maybe I've seen that didn't get, that I've loved more than most people.
Yeah, give me one of those.
Oh gosh. Oh, I can't think of one because most all the ones are kind of that mainstream
Hmm.
kind of thing. Um, there, because I do love to go see movies that not everybody it always enjoys. Like, and it's not a horror movie, but like Brazil was one
Yeah.
that not people are aware of, but I love that movie. And
Hmm.
it doesn't really get enough credit. Um, I honestly can't think of anyone.
No worries. No worries. You mentioned Brazil, and I'm like, ugh. So over my left shoulder, I have some boxes right down there, and it's all my Criterion movies. I have a shelf in this little alcove here behind me, and I need to put away some movies because,
Hmm.
yeah, all these boxes back here are Criterions I need to put away, and that's one of my Criterions. I love Brazil.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that one.
Basically, it's like hey, Monty Python, just go off and do something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, for
Oh, I
sure.
love Terry Gilliam's. Any of Terry Gilliam's. Time
Yeah,
Bandits. Oh, they're really great.
another great criterion right there. Um, I hope you had fun. Thank you to everyone in the chat for hanging out. Thank you for everyone who's live streaming this or watching this on the replay. We
And I just
appreciate it.
checked my mom, so apparently my mother is watching. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
And thank you, Miss Caveman's mom, for joining us and for watching. Once again, if you like what you see, give it a like. If you haven't done so already and you just keep coming back because you see it on Instagram or whatever, go ahead and subscribe. Help the algorithm figure out that we're here and we're here to stay. So
Thank you so much
finally,
for having me on.
yeah, thank you. All right. So final question before we end our time together here tonight. Thank you once again for coming on. I really appreciate it. I just got caught off guard. I thought it was going to be Guy, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that should be fun and interesting. And then he was like, no, not me, but
No.
she loves it.
One and only genre. You name any other genre, and I guarantee you he likes it. Anime, all of it, but not horror.
Yeah. And like you mentioned that sometimes he picks up stuff for you. Maybe I got thrown off. I was watching one of his hauls and he might have had like a horror movie or
Probably.
something in there for you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I was like, oh yeah, he collects everything. So that should be fun. But to wrap our time together tonight, number 5. Now that you've been through it, who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this
I've
channel?
I've seen you ask this question before, and I was trying to think, and because I haven't seen a lot of your feeds, I don't know who you've already
Mm-hmm.
talked to. The one that I've been trying to get set up is actually my cousin, because she did agree to do an interview of sorts, only because I was asking, because I was family. Because, like I said, she's a very private person, but we tried to get it worked out, and for some reason, it just kept falling through and stuff like that. And I haven't bugged her about it. So, but she's one that definitely I would love. But I don't know. I mean, I guess just, well, we could go from this standpoint. Maybe others, spouses or significant others. You know what I'm saying? I'm not somebody who has the content that you all have. Even Guy has, my YouTube channel is videos of my horses running around in the snow and stuff.
Yeah.
And so maybe getting, Huck's wife and, some of those, that kind of thing, maybe do something like that with other people's spouses or significant others.
That would be interesting. Brian Goes Blue said the same thing because I had both him and Coco Dutch on together.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like a couples thing.
Hmm.
And then earlier this week, I had him on. He's like, you got to get Coco on by
Yeah.
herself because she independent of Brian, she is a big movie fan as
Right.
well. I mean, if anybody doesn't believe me, watch their review of Exorcist Believer. I mean, basically, Brian was just in the car. He was there, but it was her review, her
Yeah.
memories of the
Yeah.
original Exorcist, and overall her review of this new movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And it's true. I've had Michelle from Married with Media on,
Oh, good.
and Mid-Level Media's wife, and I mean, it's an independent story because
Mhm.
it's a different perspective for sure. So I'm
Yeah.
happy you were able to come on and
Yes.
definitely do this. That was fun. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Very
Love
much.
this conversation. Yeah, a little bit different on a Friday night. Appreciate it. So once again, thank you everyone for coming out. Um, we got tomorrow. You will not see my face, but
Oh.
spooky season continues. We are going to have a little compilation of people you may or may not know. And I simply asked the question, what's your favorite John Carpenter movie? And they provided answers. So I will post that sometime during the day. I'm actually going to see not one, not two, but 3 John Carpenter movies. We have our local Carpenter Fest. So I'm going to get to see um, The Thing and Christine and a personal favorite of my friend, The Fog.
Mhm.
So it's nice because I haven't seen any of those. I've seen all of them before. I own all of them, but I haven't seen any of them on the big screen. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to
That would
seeing
be
it on the
cool.
big screen. I noticed that too. I wasn't going to say anything.
I see. I didn't know. That's true. You haven't actually. I didn't think.
Yeah.
But yes,
But,
it would be good to see him on here.
dude, you know you have an open invite. Let me get through all this spooky season stuff, and we'll get you on here for sure, because I know my cheeks are gonna hurt that night. I just know. I know from now. Yeah, Carpenter Fest. They would normally have it every year. They didn't have it last year. They kind of had Shocktober every year at the same theater where we saw Panic Fest with the Rad Pack. Last year they just had movies throughout the month, and they started off with the Nightmare on Elm Street marathon where we saw all of them. But this year they're bringing back Carpenter Fest, so kind of like towards the middle of the month. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Then the rest of the month they have other stuff, including that new horror movie that dropped today, the Eras Tour. So Taylor Swift.
Oh,
that horror movie. So yeah, hope you guys get a chance to get out and see something good this weekend. And
I'm trying to go tomorrow. Maybe go see something.
Yes, for sure. Definitely enjoy that. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And as I always say, go watch a movie. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.